good evening or good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm testing this new mic that I've got, so I'm hoping it's going to be okay. It's not going to be the wee one that I hold usually. It's an actually standing mic now, because my son actually helped me pick it, so let's hope it is sound quality is okay. I'm going to read one or two wee quick Reddit stories, and it's AITA, isn't am I the asshole for the stories, right? AITA. But see, read the first one. Am I the asshole for cutting off my friends because they talk to my rapist to hear her side of the story? I, 15 male, was assaulted at a pool party. I told my friend about it at the time, but she laughed it off and told me I did good. This kind of reaction changed my perception of the event, and I never spoke up about it again because I was scared no one would believe me. I didn't even believe myself at times. Fast forward 2 years later, I got new friends. I felt really comfortable around them, so I decided to tell them about this event. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my chest, and I was glad that some people actually believed me. Well, yesterday I found out that my friends went to visit my rapist, 24 female. Now, you've got to remember the age of this, that he's a child, and they did this to a child, which is absolutely disgusting. And for his last friends to do that, not believe him, but he should be telling an adult, and still should be telling an adult, because he is still a child. I was pretty mad about this and demanded an explanation. They told me they wanted to hear her side of the story, just to check that there wasn't any miscommunication that happened. The explanation broke me, because I thought that they believed me, but if they went ahead to visit her, then obviously they did not. 3 hours ago, I cut them off and blocked them on everything. One of them tried to message me and told me that it wasn't their intention to hurt me, and that they were just looking out for my well-being. I'm sorry, that's no sort of friends. Better off. But this individual needs to tell their mum, their dad, they need to contact the police, because it's clear that this person, maybe it's not the first time. I mean, I don't know, was it, you don't know, obviously there wasn't much into that part of what happened, but definitely they need to contact the police. And see, for boys, when that happens, they close off, because they think, oh, nobody's going to believe me at all when this happens, exactly the way this young lad has. And it's very sad that boys, when this happens to them, go through this, or even if men are in domestic violence relationships, they feel embarrassed. I'm sorry, but don't seek help. They need to seek help, and this person will need to seek therapy for the rest of their lives. There's obviously people who's obviously said he's not the asshole. They said, sorry you had this happen, and I really hope you reach out for support. I agree with other comments about approaching the police, as I've just said, as what she did is not acceptable, and given her age, she is criminally responsible. But also understand that that might feel really difficult now, so I would suggest you speak to a trusted adult or a charity or organisation who can give you support around this. It was really brave of you opening up to your friends, and the fact one of them broke your trust and did that is awful, and obviously wishing them well. And obviously it needs to tell somebody before the statute of limitations runs out. So I don't know if what part of, I don't know if it's in America or Canada or whatever, but also with the way that, so I really do hope that there's another one. Somebody else said, no, right, asshole, there doesn't need to be any sort of check for miscommunication. That was extremely uncalled for. What a gross thing for her to do. Also, if you're 15 and your attacker is 24, so 13 and 22, at the time of the attack, there is no level of miscommunication in the world that could ever be considered even the tiniest bit valid. Miscommunication would have been a BS excuse to begin with, since anything that isn't there's no given consent, but with the age gap it's a whole new level. And it is the age gap. The fact is, well, they would have been 13 at the time and she would have been 22. She's an adult and they're a child, and they're still a child. I do wish them well. I hope and pray that, I'm trying to see if there's any there's no obviously any update or anything like that. I was trying to look for an update. Am I the asshole for telling people my brother's private story to save my reputation? Let's read this one. This happened to me like 8 months ago, but it had been weighing on me. I've always been a lurker here, so I made an account to see what others think. My brother Tim isn't technically my brother, he's my cousin. My parents became his guardians when he was 3, then eventually adopted him. He and I are 4 months apart in age, and we grew up very close. We were best friends. He's gay, and I felt comfortable coming out to me when we were 12ish. Our parents a little later, and then everyone in his 16th birthday. Fast forward last year, his biological father Ray reached out to him, and they met for lunch after not seeing or talking for 25 years plus. When I asked him how it went, he didn't want to talk about it, so I let it go, figuring he would open up when he was ready. Within a week, I started hearing from family that Tim had told Ray that Tim and I had been having an illicit affair for years. After asking Tim about it, he said Ray asked Tim if he was gay, and he panicked. That's a lie. He blurted out, tried to hide being gay for some reason. However, somehow the lie made it our friends. They were horrified and angry and wanted to know if it was true. I explained to them what happened with Ray and why Tim said that. They got it and felt bad and apologised for coming at me so aggressively. Tim was furious that I told them the truth and said it was the most selfish, evil person for telling them his private story. Our parents said they understood why I did it, but said I shouldn't have. I'm still upset. He said the lie in the first place. To be honest with you, he shouldn't have said that lie. He shouldn't have. If they're cousins, or technically if their parents have adopted them, then that's a lie. Also, there's an edit. For how my friends found out about this, my parents have a large group of friends and they all known each other since they were in their early 20s or so. Ray was in that friends group. Some of my friends are the children of my parents' friends. Ray came back into town for the first time in a while and decided to reconnect. He told one of those friends and the lie spread down to one of my friends, so that's how they found out. Edit, I'm a girl, sorry I wasn't clear. Also, we live in a pretty liberal area in the northeast of the US, not south. There's another edit. Just because there's been some confusion, I realise the story is twisted and difficult to follow. Just a little bit. I didn't out him to my friends. They already knew he was gay. The private story, his phrase, not mine, was that I told them about the conversation he had with his biological dad. He said I should have told them it was a joke that didn't land, or that his biological dad is crazy, which I didn't think of at the time, and I don't like lying to my friends. No, then you're just keeping up the... She wasn't lying, and if she didn't like lying, she told the truth. And I understand that if you heard something that your brother, cousin said and made up about you, you would correct them. And you'd be like, alright, especially if they come out gay and their parents aren't accepting or whatever. But then her parents should have been going, right, no, that wasn't right, etc, etc. So, there's an update. I forwarded the email last night, June 26, to most of our immediate family members and some distant family and friends who are known to be big mouths. My best friend and aunt also helped out by forwarding it. I sent it in full, unedited, which is relevant because in the email he said mean things about other people. For example, calling someone fat, nasty, referring to someone as infertile, and making fun of someone else for being poor. That's not nice. Which is rich considering he pays his bills by going to the bank of mum and dad. There was a lot of outrage all around, to say the least. I bet there was. Someone pointed out to me that they believed he was narcissistic personality disorder. He could have actually, and I thought that, like bipolar maybe. I've done a lot of reading about that today, and wow, yeah, he must. I also sent this thread to our parents. I wanted them to know how much the lack of support hurt me in a relationship, and that a lot of people on here commenting think they handled the situation horribly. I personally think they didn't handle that properly. I think they handled it wrong. As a mum of 7 and a grandma of 2, they could have handled it a wee bit better. Maybe they have a better understanding of this, since you're all objective strangers who don't have a dog in this race. Dad did say Tim needs to get his life together, or else he'll end up just like Ray, and that wouldn't be and he wouldn't be around to watch it happen. He also said that he doesn't think Tim will ever give a genuine apology, since he's convinced he's right and we're all wrong. Mum is convinced he's suffering from mental illness. Apparently Tim has been behaving bizarrely lately, and at first she thought quarantine was to blame, but after reading the email, she doesn't think he's in his right mind. Could be because he's lost his job under weird circumstances last year. Even so, it may explain his behaviour, but and so no way, shape or form excuses it. It's like somebody's obviously wrote, so obviously you and Tim are at least 28. Tim came out to everyone at least 12 years ago, right? The same group of friends your parents do, whether or not he's kept in touch with them all. First Jay knew he was gay, but I don't buy no one talked to him, including his own family, for at least 12 years. That whole extended group of family and friends knew. Second, Tim and at least a 28-year-old man lied about you, his best friend, sister, cousin, and came up with you with having sex for years when you were growing up with each other, which is absolutely vile. And obviously, third, Tim thinks that even if he didn't know, no one in that extended family would be telling him. Tim came out and has been out for over a decade. Fourth, what the bleep is wrong with your family, friends that believe that? It's a weird situation but to me, they should have been supportive, sat down, that the cousin stroke brother sat him down and said, look, this isn't right that you said this about. Anyway, there's nothing wrong being gay at all, but you shouldn't have made that lie up, because these lies make into bigger lies. That's wrong. I'll read this kind of last one. I'm the asshole for expecting my girlfriend to choose something different for us to eat. Okay. My girlfriend and I had a nice movie night planned at the weekend. She said she saw a fun idea of how we could choose what to eat and drink. She said we could do rock, paper, scissors for a starter, main, dessert, snacks and drinks. That sounds fun. A fun game for picking things. I mean, whoever wins chooses that course to be shared between us. That sounds fun. The idea is to go around the supermarket separately and meet up at the end to how the other person would have chosen. I think that sounds like a fun idea to do things like that. Obviously, if you know the other person's kind of likes or dislikes, so you wouldn't put that in the basket, or if they've got an allergy or something, so you'd be careful what you chose. I thought it sounded fun, so I agreed. I won dessert, snacks and drinks, and my girlfriend won starter and main. I chose 2 different drinks as we like to drink different things, so I got one wine for my girlfriend and some cans of beer for me, then got a couple of snacks for us to share and a dessert we both like. When we met up, she showed me that what she'd gotten. For the main, she chose food she knows I don't like. See, that's not really good. It's fun, but you've really got to kind of compromise on things like that. I asked if she would mind changing it or getting something that I could eat instead, but she refused and said the whole point of the game was the winner chose, and that he chose something she really wants to eat. See, that's a bit unfair. I get it was a game, rock, paper, scissors, but then you've got to think of what the other person would eat as well, and not just yourself. It sounds a bit selfish, just a little bit. I pointed out it's not really fair to choose food you know the other person doesn't like, since the idea is that it's meant to be fun for both of us. But she said I shouldn't be starting an argument and ruining the night, but I pointed out it's her ruining the night by going out of her way to choose food she knows I don't like. Am I an asshole for expecting her to choose something else? Not somebody's wrote, not the asshole. It sounded like a fun game, but when your girlfriend intentionally chose an entity she knew you wouldn't eat, she became the asshole. Somebody wrote, she chose the game so she could do this. Does sound like it, doesn't it? And even if she was innocent and she's sure as hell is guilty of being unpleasantly and trying to somebody wrote, yeah, no matter what she got, she was planning on choosing something you did not like. It was always on purpose. Does she always do things you don't like? If this is new, then it would be a ploy to break. Then it could be a ploy to break up with you, or she could be just a bitch. Somebody says she totally ruined it. If my husband and I did something like this, which sounds like fun, and he chose something he knew I didn't like, I'd be totally bummed. It's supposed to be a couple thing, not a solo thing. Choosing something the other person doesn't like is selfish. I agree. I absolutely 100% agree. Because it is supposed to be, it's like a fun game, an excellent game. But when one person is thinking, well, I'm just going to get food I like and not something that maybe get something she liked, but also what the other person liked as well, what our partner liked as well, and it's like, well, he can have that, I can have this, and then there's none of this kind of animosity about do you know what I mean? It's a shame that happened. And I just know it to be kind of update. I'm just trying to look through to see if there was a wee update. There's obviously nothing that I can see. But no. Look. Well, I'll leave it there. Because it's like 1:48 in the morning. I've got to get up at a certain time to go and see my oldest daughter, my grandsons. And said in love and light and good night. Now, obviously, hopefully this video turns out okay. I mean, hopefully it's a bit, the sound is a bit better with this new mic. Not that there wasn't before, but I felt that holding something and trying to read things was a bit of a pain in the backside. So let's hope this is a wee bit better, guys. As I said, send love and light, and good night.